Sunshine and gusty winds helped clear some roads today, but frigid nights stick around. I'm tracking where wind chills could fall below zero and our next chance for winter weather.
While highways and main roads might be getting better, secondary roads may still be treacherous. What crews are doing to get things back to normal ahead of the next winter storm. And we got pretty lucky in our area with this weekend's winter storm. Other places, not so much. Thousands of power outages continue to cripple communities. Tonight, we'll take a look at what some other states are doing to prepare for future storms and what North Carolina can learn from them.
The ice storm is gone, but we are not out of the woods. Those warmer temperatures, they really did help us out today, melting lots of that ice. But take a look at how cold it's going to be tomorrow morning.
Let's rattle a few of these off. Are you seeing this?
Oh.
So we are 10 degrees tomorrow morning in Raleigh, single digits in Durham, about 8 degrees, 0 in Roxborough.
Look at that big old goose egg. Kat, this means a lot of ice is going to refreeze.
Yes, and those are wind chills, just to be clear. But regardless, that's how it's going to feel outside. I mean, that bitter cold to start the day. And that's why it's a hard freeze. Any spot that looks wet will be ice. So make sure that you take it slow and you are careful. And just check in with us during our morning news tomorrow. We'll keep you up to date on road conditions before you leave. A cold weather advisory in effect through 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Check out the wind chills town by town as we head into tonight. 9 o'clock, maybe you're taking your dog out before you head to bed. Wind chills already down to 9 in Roxborough, 15 in Raleigh. As we head into the overnight hours, these numbers continue to fall. They could even fall below 0 up toward the Virginia border. 6 in Raleigh at 5 a.m. for the early morning risers. And it is just a cold day. The cold sticks around, so any moisture, we got to keep an eye on this week. And I'm going to talk more about the upcoming weekend coming up.
All right, Kat, Brian Schrader here in the WRAL Live Center. And of course, we're still concerned, especially about secondary roads in our area that are covered in some spots with ice still, and a lot of school systems are changing their schedules for tomorrow. We just heard from Halifax County schools that have joined the list of schools that'll be on a remote learning day for Tuesday, and that includes most districts in our viewing area, including Wake County and Durham Public Schools. In our southern counties, the yellow here, they are on a delay, including Cumberland County and Wayne County schools. Person County schools doing an asynchronous learning today, and there are 2 school systems that are closed for Tuesday. Wilson and also Mecklenburg County, Virginia schools.
Okay, thank you to Brian. So let's take our ice storm aftermath coverage out into the wild, shall we? We got our WRAL team live across the area again tonight in Wake, Durham, and Johnston counties.
So let's start with Carly Haynes. She's live at the Wake County School Bus Depot. And not much need for those today with schools on remote learning today and tomorrow, Carly. It feels windy out there. It sounds windy anyway.
Yes, we're feeling those gusts as we've been standing here. And the district made the decision to go remote based off of the potential for black ice tomorrow, because these buses and carpoolers need to get to where they need to go across a very large county. Now, this means that Wake County schools will be going remote really for the first time since COVID. Middle and high school students on traditional calendars will start their second semester remotely tomorrow. And you might remember last year, parents were frustrated that Wake didn't do remote learning when other school districts did, so Wake decided to allow it this year. WRAL spoke with the mom of a Green Level High School student. Her son, who's in special education, will have 2 new classes come tomorrow, and he faces some uncertainty about the asynchronous day.
It's like stepping into a new year. It's, meeting a different teacher, and how does that teacher communicate? And does that communication work both ways? So there's a lot of kinks to work out, especially for a special education student, the first couple of weeks of school.
By calling for a remote instruction day, Wake Schools does not have to use a banked day or a makeup day. However, the state does cap remote learning at 5 days per school year. And in Wake, remote learning means that students are doing work on paper or online in an asynchronous manner, not necessarily logging on to a live Zoom call or anything similar. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, live in Wake County.
It's been a while since we've used the term asynchronous, hasn't it? Thank you, Carly.
All right, Willie Danley is up next. He's been keeping an eye on road conditions in Durham. How's it look out there, Willie?
Dan, it's definitely better than it was 24 hours ago, but you can see behind me, this is North Duke Street. It's still very slick out here. We haven't even hit the lowest temperatures of the evening, but you can already see some of that condensation on the road turning into ice. We've been around the area today, and the sunlight definitely helped us out a lot by melting most of that snow and ice. But now that the snow and ice has melted, refreezing is a big concern this evening with the low temperatures that we are expecting. While more people are out on the roads today than they were yesterday, many people are still choosing to stay home if possible due to the icy conditions on the road. We've been around downtown Durham today talking to people about what they're seeing out here.
It is a little bit of a struggle just driving out here on a regular day. I see it maybe being a little patchy maybe tomorrow, but I also just kind of feel like it was manageable today, so I feel like it'll still be manageable tomorrow.
According to a representative from the city of Durham, crews out here worked overtime clearing these main roads. And tomorrow, the secondary roads are going to be the top priority. We're going to keep an eye on these road conditions in Durham. Willie Danley, WRAL News, live in Durham.
Got it, Willie. Thank you.
So we have been to Raleigh, we've been to Durham. Now let's end our round robin in the field with WRAL's Alex Littlehales in Johnston County. Alex, some slick conditions remaining on the secondary roads out there, too.
Yeah, we are live in Johnston County again, and if you've been following our reporting for the last 24 hours or so, you've seen that Johnston County in particular has endured some of these public safety concerns that we were talking about as this winter weather is moving in. But right now, we actually have, some numbers to actually help paint a picture of how exactly this weekend went for Johnston County. So officials confirmed that there were at least 11 crashes county-wide across the county this weekend, and so including one of those being the tractor-trailer that we saw. It swerved and jackknifed off I-95 South, closing lanes for hours. But right now, as it stands, NCDOT officials actually told us a couple hours ago that they consider the interstates, the highways here in Johnston County in this area to be, quote, clear. And that right now crews are actually working on, as you had mentioned, Ashley, those secondary roads, because some of them may still have some standing water. And as what Kat was mentioning, that water could become ice tonight, right? And so the hope is that some of that sun that we saw this afternoon was actually able to melt some of that standing ice away from the roads, and that we, don't see too much activity tonight. But even emergency crews, emergency responders in Johnston County that we talked to say that they are still staying vigilant tonight. Take a listen.
We have changed our operational plan, and we are expecting for everything to refreeze this evening. So anything that has not completely has not dissipated at this time will refreeze later. So we are really encouraging our crews and everyone else to remain very cautious.
So you just heard there from Hannah Horn. She is an EMS captain here in Johnston County. And it is worth noting, NCDOT officials told us that, all of the activity we saw this weekend, keep in context that there were more than 100,000 gallons of brine deployed just in Johnston County alone. Live in Smithfield, I'm Alex Littlehales for WRAL News.
That's a lot of brine.
That's a lot of brine.
Count on WRAL to update you on conditions, closures, and how low temperatures fall. You can find us on air, online, and on our WRAL News app. Turn on those notifications to get alerts straight to your phone.
You're funny. You make me laugh. All right, we want to shift gears now for a moment, talk about some of the other big headlines in the news today. Here are the 5 things you should know right now. Now here at 7 o'clock, at least one person is hurt after a head-on crash in Smithfield. The WRAL breaking news tracker got this video from the scene on Buffalo Road near Hospital Road. We were told one person was pinned in their car. It took rescuers about 30 minutes to save them. Police are still investigating what caused this crash. A Durham principal is resigning after being charged with obstructing a police investigation. Durham Public Schools says Tanya Wright will leave Eno Valley Elementary at the end of the month. She had been suspended since mid-December. Wright's accused of obstructing a police investigation into an incident at her school in November of 2024 when an autistic child was found tied to a chair. Wright has not responded to WRAL's request for a comment.
3 people are dead after a shooting and stabbing in Fayetteville. All of the victims are related in this one. Police responded to a home on Sumac Circle last night. Investigators say Sherry Smith got into a fight with a man and then things escalated. Smith, her son, Aaron Poole, and her daughter, Amanda Smith, were found dead. A suspect, Nigel Lewis, was found with stab wounds. He faces 3 murder charges. Some new information in that standoff situation in the middle of the ice storm. Garner police told us Nathan Tharp drove his car into a woman. The police department told us officers shot at the car to try to stop him. He wasn't hurt, but then police say Tharp crashed the car into a home and barricaded himself inside. Officers did eventually take him into custody. The Buddhist monks made their way through Wake Forest today. This was day 93 of their cross-country walk for peace. They're resting for the night in Lewisburg. How do their feet feel? That's all I want to know. They're going to be in Warren County tomorrow before taking next steps toward their final destination in Washington, D.C.
I think about their physical condition all the time. It's really remarkable what they're able to do.
Truly an inspiration. North Carolina does not get a ton of winter weather every year, so there's a lot that we can learn whenever a storm does come through.
Lots of states get this type of weather all of the time, and we wanted to know, what do they do to keep the lights on, to keep the roads clear? Let's look at some ways we can level up after the break.
And we received thousands of ice storm pictures from you over the weekend. These are impressive. And tonight's One Last Thing, we're going to highlight some of our favorites. We think about all the different things that could disrupt the grid, and we think about our dependence on the grid. The big trend right now is resiliency. That is your quote of the day, coming from Duke Energy spokesperson Jeff Brooks. He's talking about North Carolina's power grid. And he's right? Think about how much we depend on electricity for light, for work, staying warm, staying cold, cooking food, preserving food, medical equipment, even travel. That's why we over-prepare when we get an ice storm like the one that hit this weekend. While North Carolina doesn't get a ton of winter weather, lots of other states do, and they are just as dependent on power as we are. So what can we learn from them? What does Duke Energy see as potential ways for North Carolina to level up? Here's WRAL state government reporter Caroline Yaffa.
This weekend's storm raised questions about how to protect the state's energy infrastructure, and the answers may lie in other states like Texas. Millions of Texans froze after losing power during Winter Storm Uri. In response to the deadly 2021 storm, Texas lawmakers required utilities to better protect power plants and power lines from extreme weather. North Carolina takes a more hands-off approach, even though only 3 states have had more power outages in the past 25 years.
But as far as requiring the utilities to weatherize their equipment, I am not aware that we have any regulations to that effect, or whether there's been a push for that, because it hasn't been an issue here in North Carolina.
North Carolina relies largely on emergency response and voluntary action by power companies. When storms approach, officials declare state of emergency, treat roads, and activate the National Guard. Duke Energy, the state's biggest electric utility, also invests in long-term grid improvements.
We have a very robust multi-year grid improvement strategy that we've worked with our regulators to establish that helps us to strengthen the grid to make it more resistant to outages from severe weather.
Harrison says Texas should have been a warning.
The Texas situation should have sprung us into action to think about this in advance. Duke's been a generally very responsible utility.
As extreme weather becomes more common, the question is whether North Carolina waits for disaster or acts now. We reached out to Senate Leader Phil Berger and House Speaker Destin Hall and asked what new laws or measures should North Carolina adopt to better protect residents from future storms or natural disasters. And do you plan to push for that? Neither indicated they support new requirements on utilities. But a spokesperson for Hall said in a statement, the House will continue to focus on maintaining a strong rainy day fund to ensure we are prepared to weather future natural disasters. Berger also issued a statement saying it is premature to discuss details of potential legislative action without damage estimates. Governor Josh Stein says he has real faith in Duke Energy, and he also tells us that this storm reaffirmed that preparation is key and it can make the difference in saving lives. Now, state lawmakers are expected to return to Raleigh this spring. Caroline Yaffa, WRAL News, Raleigh.
Another difference between Texas and North Carolina, Texas requires utilities to winterize their equipment. You can find a more in-depth comparison, including the states that are closer to the East Coast, over at WRAL.com, guys.
Kat Campbell joining us now as we are looking at some really freezing overnight temperatures.
It's going to be really, really cold tonight. Thank goodness so many of us have power. We're already down to 28 in the Triangle, 27 in Roxborough. The wind chill is going to factor in tonight, too, to make it even more uncomfortable for many. I do want to show you road temperatures. These are the estimates of our current road temperatures, an exclusive product that we have here at WRAL. Down to 32 in Raleigh, 29 in Durham, 25 in Roxborough, still above freezing in our southern counties. I just want to reiterate, any spots that are wet on the road overnight will be ice. So just please be careful out there and take it slow if you do have to be on the roads. Tomorrow, we've got more sunshine to help things melt. Sleet is more dense than snow and freezing rain, so it does take a little bit longer to melt sometimes. But with another day of full sunshine, that's going to help us out. Wednesday, Thursday, partly cloudy, and then Friday, we see clouds roll in ahead of our next weather maker. The Arctic air sticks around all week. Tomorrow's 40-degree high. It's as warm as we're going to get for the next week. 12 tonight for the low, 20 Wednesday and Thursday morning, and we are looking at teens again Friday and Saturday mornings. Here's the thing, with the cold air sticking around all week, any signs of moisture have to really be monitored, and we do have that potential this weekend. We are watching a potential coastal storm, so right now, Saturday and Sunday, some winter weather is possible, but it's not likely just yet. The big question mark is going to be the moisture with this round, and we just don't know yet how far inland this moisture is going to make it. That'll be key to the forecast. We've got a lot of time. It's only Monday. We know how things go. You know, we're kind of in tune with the winter weather process now that we've been through it for a week. We will nail down details in the days ahead. I wouldn't bother canceling any plans or anything like that just yet. Just check in as we get a little later in the week. Hopefully you still have your supplies. You may just need some more snacks if things pan out. In scenario number one, where we would see low pressure track further inland, that could bring a wintry mix. We've seen less of that solution so far in more of scenario 2 or 3. Scenario 2, a fine line, but that would bring all snow to the area. But scenario 3 would leave the forecast pretty dry for us and keep all the moisture east of us, potentially closer to the coast. The latest European model ensembles give us about a 60% chance of an inch or more of snow this weekend. That takes 50 runs of the European model, changes the initial conditions slightly each time. And that's how we get the data. We're not just going to show you one model run this far out. Stay tuned with us as we get closer to the weekend. In the meantime, big cold in the forecast this week. High temperatures only in the 30s and near 40 degrees tomorrow. Make sure that you are bundled up. Keep the winter coats handy.
Yeah, good advice. Thank you, Kat. You don't want to miss tonight's one last thing. Babies on sleds, igloos in Rollsville, dogs in ridiculous outfits. You sent us tons of ice storm pictures, and we're going to share some of our favorites after the break.
How appropriate. One last thing. Anytime there's weather in our area, we ask you to share photos, and we thank you for sending them in. During this weekend's ice storm, we got a ton of pictures.
We got the usual fare, you know, the icy roads and backyards and kids sledding, dogs walking, that sort of thing. But we also got some very, we'll call them unique additions. Take a look. Every time it snows or sleets or we see a few flurries drop from the sky, you send us your pictures, and we love it. Kids sledding, back porch furniture, dogs in silly outfits, whatever this is. But this time around, we got a little more than the frozen bird baths and frozen landscaping and the only time anyone takes a picture of themselves using a ruler. For starters, what the heck is going on with these ice polka dots in the street? We saw a few of these pictures. Did anyone else see these? Moving on to this video from Raleigh, the caption, "Ice-mobiling on a city road," which makes me wonder, who has a snowmobile in the middle of North Carolina, and why? Sometimes the caption really does say it all. This one from Raleigh says, "Bluebird with a head of ice," and that's exactly what it is. A lot of people got creative in the ice, like this family in Cary, a team of Carolina Hurricanes bobbleheads playing some bird bath hockey. Some kids in Rollsville build an igloo. How did they do this, though? Are those blocks different colors? Is it lit up from the inside? Who knows, but it's pretty impressive. We saw a lot of kids playing ice hockey on the ice. And what about walking out in the middle of a frozen hot tub? One thing's for sure, the ice is for people of all ages. Brian says he is a kid at heart, posing next to a snowman on his porch, wearing overalls and holding a beer. And there's little Lucy over in Raleigh, sledding in her car seat. Safety first, Lucy. And sledding is for everyone, including dogs. This guy's doing it all by himself with Mom close behind. And let's wrap things up with this. A big thank you to our linemen who responded to power outages. Pamela posted this photo of her grandkids who were psyched to sit in their dad's work truck. They think he's a hero. And we think so too.
Oh, we need those linemen. They are heroes, man. When it's freezing cold and the power's going out and all you want to do is stay warm, they go out and climb up, the whole thing.
Lucy was adorable. I really liked Brian's energy. I can see you doing what Brian was doing. Just
Overalls.
like overalls, a beer.
A little lawn dart in his hand.
out.
He was
hanging
see
out
him back there.
Did you have a good time? I know, I mean, fortunately, we didn't have to deal with those big power outages, so I can ask you that.
There was always, in retrospect, yes, I think everybody went through it with a little bit of that anxiety, thinking, could the power go out at any second? Fortunately, we kept power. But yeah, and I'm glad that we were able to help people through it. And thanks to everybody who contributed and helped us tell that story. Great to have you with us tonight. We'll see you back here on WRAL tonight at 11.